Hello, I'm Amy Zawi with the Jerusalem Connection Red Alert Report for Wednesday, March 6th. Let's talk about the ladies. We have a few women in this country rising to prominence in political circles, and in general and at arm's length, this is actually a very good thing. However, these women, rose particularly on the stepping stones of hate and divisiveness rather on progress and peace. Their rise is fueled by anger and false feminism and a shared element of underlying or even overwhelmingly obvious attribute of anti-Zionism and direct anti-Semitism. Let's talk about Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, and Alexandria Ortega-Cortez, Linda Sarsour, and Tamika Mallory. What these women have in common is their alleged stance on women's rights issues and feminism, and yet they rally consistently and without remorse against the only region in the Middle East that has any type of protections for women. They claim to be working in the interests of human rights and progress and fairness, yet these are buzzwords for them, and their tweets, public speaking, and the company they keep often vilify and demonize Israel or the Jewish people. When you question any of them, they will say, of course I'm not anti-Semitic. I simply have the right to criticize Israeli government policy. But they are all active supporters of the BDS movement, Boycott, Divest, and Sanction, a movement organized to economically, politically, and culturally ostracize Israel as a nation and the Jewish people, and ultimately remove it from the map. The origins and the connectedness of BDS with anti-Semitic movements and terrorist organizations are well documented and established, so much so that over 27 United States and the U.S. federal government, all with bipartisan support, now have some form of sanctions against public monies being used in companies that engage in BDS. Municipal and regional governments in Europe have also filed similar measures, including such things as no use of public buildings or grounds for BDS events. Ilan Carr, the United States new envoy to combat anti-Semitism, told an American Jewish leaders group in Jerusalem just last month that he will work hard to quote, eradicate the attempted distinction between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism. There is no distinction. And yes, the BDS movement continues to move forward with open arms from colleges and universities, often public institutions. This is something I have not yet reconciled, since many of these institutions belong to states that have already passed legislation forbidding participation in BDS. This includes California and Illinois. And then we have Sarsour given soapboxes recently at New York University and University of North Carolina. And Omar is speaking at a Terror Tide luncheon in Florida. And then we have Tlaib calling anyone who just even remotely disagrees with her a racist simply because they are not female or not of color. The ties are deep and obvious, and the press gives these women cover because they are women and women of color, and they toe a progressive agenda, even if in reality that agenda is counterproductive to the betterment of the human condition. These women can say or announce anything in public, and we are supposed to believe it, and believe it without question. It's the hashtag believe her, but this is dangerous and unhealthy. Remember last month, Congresswoman Omar got in trouble even by members of her own party to watch her wording, not because they may necessarily disagree with her, but because her honesty may actually expose the thoughts of the Democratic Party, or at least the incoming electees. Remember, she tweeted a bigoted tweet about Jews and Israel, and then went on to apologize while in the same sentence throwing AIPAC under the bus for its lobbying efforts and thus its evil influence on U.S. politics. Well, either she's a liar or she's just stupid. Not only is AIPAC accused of lobbying on U.S. politicians and tossing money around to get its way, many also accuse it to be an arm of the Israeli government. The reality is, though, that AIPAC does not give money to any lawmakers. They are also explicitly bipartisan when it comes to working with the various domestic political groups in Israel. We meet with
Morris Ametfei, the former executive director, is noted as saying, quote, "We meet with the Israeli left, right, and center, and we take no positions on Israeli internal politics and stick to the basics in making sure Israel is secure and in the best interests of the country." Now, this is in response to certain anti-Israel lawmakers saying that AIPAC is closely tied with the Israeli far right. Indeed, the Israeli-related lobby, AIPAC, has the Israeli-related lobby that's given the most money to U.S. lawmakers is not actually AIPAC. It's J Street, a far-left organization that is hypercritical of Israel and recently has been aligned with AOC and Omar. A blogger named the Elder of Zion has documented actual pro-Israel lobbying wouldn't even crack the top 50 lobbying efforts in the United States. Those top 50 efforts include nations such as South Korea, Japan, and many Arab countries, all having lobbying organizational ties and financial pulls far greater than AIPAC. But let's not mention that to Omar and confuse her with the facts. The only organizations she mentioned in her tweet of an apology was AIPAC and the NRA. Now, the way to get to support in this country seems not to be about debating issues and facts and exposing truths, but better to just make an accusation and a claim and see what will stick. And if the women in the Democratic Party make that claim, you dare not contradict it, or you'll be considered misogynist, and you'll be a racist if that claimant is also of color. Please keep your eyes on the ball when it comes to who is elected in both your local offices, state, and at the federal level. Keep mindful watch of who's speaking at the universities in your state or that may be in proximity to you. You can always protest peacefully by writing letters, sending emails and faxes, and posting to social media sites cogent, thoughtful, helpful, and factual information to combat the narrative at play. Even go to these local locations and stand with signs and stand for the antithesis of what they stand for. You cannot say that you're against discrimination of women and you're not anti-Semitic and that you're even pro-Arab if you actually support BDS. BDS provides no measure of help for any side of any issue ongoing in the Middle East. It is an obstacle and not a stepping stone. But the cool thing right now is to call black white and white black, day night and night day. Popular is the twist of lies of nuance and to claim that human and civil and gender rights are being fueled instead by oppressive philosophies such as socialism and Islam. We need more women like Nikki Haley in the ranks, influencing and speaking towards peace and not against it. Shavua Tov, and have a great week.